Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is, and wow, this is so beautiful. I'm gonna turn the camera around in a few minutes, but the colors out here is so beautiful. Did I say that? Yes, the colors out here are so beautiful. That's why Starlight does not have any favorite colors, because how could I when there's so many beautiful colors out there? So anyway, ooh, a yellow and black butterfly. So anyway, I love you all, and come on, come on, come on, get out of the house. No excuses. We all have them, but put those aside. And you know, there's times that you gotta make time to do things like getting out in nature. You know, the next time you have time, you know, are you too busy working that you don't have time to play? Are you so busy working that you don't play? Well, then you're not really living life. That means you're a slave to the system. So you could be free, still work and play, but you really don't want to be a slave to the system. You know, if you're not happy with the job that you're doing, where you are at work, then that is when you know that's a big indicator that you need a different job where you can be happy. So anyway, I love you all, and if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give this video a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget, you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight. And also, besides leaving me a message, you could share my videos. And I have got a surprise for all of you. This nature lover Starlight is it is amazing. I gotta check out what kind of turkeys they are, but wild turkeys out here, I gotta figure out if they're the boys or the girls. You know, Starlight gets them mixed up, but you never can get that close to wild turkeys. When they see you distance far away, they are already taken off, they are running. But Starlight will put that on this video here, so you could share my videos with your family, your friends. Turkeys, gobble, gobble, gobble. And also, because I see a bee over here, is a bee. So what does it mean when you see a turkey or a bee? I don't know. You got to tell me. What does it mean? What is the message that the universe wants you to know? Besides that is, besides sharing, don't forget you can check out my playlist. And don't forget the notification bell that Starlight Laws, ding, ding, ding. And you can check me out on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you all, and I just want to also mention thank you, all of you. Yeah, you, and you. I don't know how many of you, but thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel, loving and supporting me. Some of you have been there from the very first day that I started, and still today. So thank you, and all of you that have joined me throughout this time for me being a YouTuber, thank you. And new subscribers that recently have subscribed to my YouTube channel, thank you. Thank you for giving me a thumbs up. Thank you for all of you, yay, you and you and you, for leaving me a message down below or giving me a thumbs up, and also sharing my videos. Thank you. So now, today I did try to make this video earlier, but there was too many people on the trail, and Starlight has a hard time focusing on the topic without all this, you know, I'm hearing so many people in their conversations, so Starlight is redoing this video. And anyway, now I'm going to turn this screen around, and look at how beautiful this is. I'm going to zoom this in. So yeah, today is, let's see, today I want to talk to you about what do you believe? Not what your parents told you. No. Not what your family told you. Not what the school told you. No. Not what the church told you. No. Not what your friend told you. No. Not what the government told you. No. not what your neighbor told you, or your other family members, or your wife or husband. Depends on what they said. We have all been programmed and lied to through our whole history and time. And so I make videos out here, and some of you have no clue what Starlight's talking about is, and the reason that is because we've been programmed to not intake that kind of information. We've been programmed to believe what our family has believed. You know, it gets passed down, and, you know, passed down from generation to generation, you know, through our family, you know, about what we believe as far as where we came from. What do we believe as far as church, you know, God? You know, what do we believe as far as the history in this life? What do we believe as far as what you were taught when you were in school? What do we believe when you go to church? You know, what do we believe when you listen to the news? You know, like, what do you believe, you know, when you read something on the internet or hear somebody making a YouTube video? So, you know, we have been programmed and conditioned to believe a certain way, and Starlight has been working on deprogramming herself. I knew I needed to deprogram myself all the way back in 2007, when I went into one cult church, and the other one was way worse than the first one. So I meet a lot of people on this journey, and I talk to so many people, and I met so many people that have so many different beliefs. Some of it has been passed down from generation to generation. There are some families, I'll tell you what, Florida has been the worst state that I've gone into as far as religion goes. Wow. I mean, from New York all the way to Florida, all the way to, you know, Miami, Florida, all the way to Kansas, to Colorado, to California. Florida was the worst state. They force feed religion on those people, those families, you know. A lot of people in Florida, if you've ever been to Florida in certain areas, sorry about that, is a lot of the people will say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And, you know, I had talked to some of the people out there. I was like, wow, because that's the cult church I came from. You were forced to say that to the pastor. You couldn't go in there and just talk like you're normal. No, you were forced to say yes, sir, and give eye contact to the man that so-called himself a man of God. You know, so you gotta, you know, really be careful of that, is when people are controlling you. And the school system, that is, you know, besides our family and ancestors and stuff, you know, that is where the deep programming goes, you know, comes from, is that. And of course, you know, you could get brought up under a mom and dad, and they could say, this is what we believe, you know, and you still have a free will to believe what you want to believe. So I know I make videos out here, and you guys are like, what, is she crazy? No, I am not crazy. I'm just waking up. It just means that I'm waking up and you're still sleeping. You have not woken up yet. And that is okay. So I'm not here to judge you. It is because there was a time that Starlight was still sleeping at once upon a time. That is why now God is using me, one of the chosen ones, to do what I'm doing now, is because I'm waking up to the lies, to the bullshit that we've been fed our whole life. And here I am enjoying this beautiful, I'm just going to grab this really quick, and I'm going to show you how beautiful this is out here. But this is so beautiful out here, and I've been like sitting out here just trying to find a beautiful spot to make a video in these flowers here. But whoopsie, that kind of flipped. So this land is my land. This land is your land. I was singing that song this morning as I was driving out here, because my GPS was letting me know where I'm supposed to go to park. And it's like, you know, this land is my land, this land is your land. From this land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, So this land is made for you and for me. They stole this land. It's not for the people to buy the land. You know, there's places I go all over, you know, charging people for parking. You can't park here. You can't do this. You can't do that. And if you do, then they're going to put a ticket on your car, and then they're going to have you go to court, because why? See, we've been lied to. A lot of people, fall for this trap, and fall like, okay, well, they paid it, they put a ticket on my car, so I'm going to go and pay the ticket. So Starlight right now, in order to be here, there was a spot that you had to drive in and pay for the parking. Well, guess what? I have cash. I can't pay cash to park, I don't, there's might not even be a penny on my debit card. And why should I park for the parking when this land is not theirs to take anyway? See, these are the lies that they've fed us. They've stole this land long time ago. This was all of ours to share. It's not for them to sell the land, and, it's a big money making thing, and it's really wrong what they're doing. So these are lies. These are things that we're like, well, this is how it is, and we just go along with the program, right? We just go along with what they say. So we've been lied to. In the government, with your kids being at school, that's a program. It's a deep-rooted program, what they do. And like I was saying in the last video, is I was trying to figure out, how did I get programmed? I was thinking, how did I get programmed to believe that I should take care of everybody else's needs first and then take care of mine? Now, the school system, when I was learning how to write, now, if I had this right, this is what I was taught. If you're writing a sentence, and I'm just going to name anybody's name, is I would have to say, like, Amy and I went to the store. So always put Amy, put other people. Now, this might sound funny to you, but it's deep-rooted for me to believe that, okay, when they say you got to put the other person before your own, so it is programming, for you to, okay, I got to put others. Sorry about the light here, the sun and the clouds, where were they? So my whole life, that is what I've done, is to put others before myself. I was always running around taking care of everybody else's needs and then myself. It's backwards. So, like, you can write like that, but you got to remember, you got to first God, then you, and then your closest ones to you. There's a lot of programming going on in the public school, and you have to protect your kids. The stuff that's going on, and now, if my kids are adults, my kids have, I have grandkids. I cannot tell my kids what to do with their kids. It's not my place. But as a good mother, as a great grandmother, I'm great, loving my grandkids. I can tell my kids, hey, be careful of these things. This is what they got in the school system. But it's absolutely up to my kids what they do with that information. Like these days now, I overheard at a library recently, and I was like, I would be taking my kids right out of the school, and I didn't want my kids in a public school in the first place. But when they're actually getting your kids to, the teachers are programmed to do this. They are programmed, they have to go, and they can't do whatever they want to do. Believe me, there's some sneaky teachers that are in the school system that are fighting for your children, but not all of them are. Just like when COVID came, how many of you, if you had a job, if they threatened you to lose your job or to take COVID, how many of you, by raising your hand, how many of you, instead of going and getting another job, instead of quitting because they were trying to force you to take the injection, how many of you decided, you know what, I don't want to lose my job, here, poke me. There's one. This happens with the teachers too. they are controlled and programmed. They've been trained to be the way they are with your children. And there's a lot of them that don't like it. But they fear, instead of, if they all got together, if all the teachers got together and said no, all of them all at once, if they all got together and say, you know what, no, we are not going to do this. We are going to quit. They would, how are they going to, especially right during when all the kids are going to school. And same with COVID, that, if people just at the companies said, no, let's all, then fire us, all of us, fire all of us, every single one, get everyone involved and say, you know what, then you're going to have to fire me. I am not taking that injection. You got to be careful out in this crazy ass world. Don't leave yourself so small. Don't let the government control you, the churches control you, the public school control you, your parents control you, your husband, wife. Now there are some areas, with Starlight, with me, if I am with a man, but like, if he's there to protect me and keep me safe, I'm good with that, but you don't want to have people controlling you in different ways. I'm sorry, I got butterflies out here floating around. So you don't want people taking your rights away and your freedoms away like they are doing. It's supposed to be the people controlling the government. It's all backwards. It's all inside out backwards. So, we gave them the power. We're supposed to have the power. We're supposed to tell the government. But you know what? Because people fear the government. They fear, just like there's a lot of corruptness going on in the world. Doctors, hospitals, police departments, school systems, churches. Can I go on? There's a whole bunch of corruptness going on in the world. And we have to be wise. You stop believing everything that you hear on the news that is telling lies, So everything that they say, now some things are true. But you got to be careful, like how things were built, like even with the pyramids, nobody knows really exactly what happened with the pyramids, how they got there, how they got built. Why can't we build them today? So you got to really question, you got to really deprogram yourself and say, now, I'm going to question everything now. When I was younger, when you were younger, when you went to school, you just believed everything, you've been programmed just to believe everything, just absorb it like a sponge, right? Just absorb everything what your parents said, as a sponge, I came from a family that didn't believe in God. My mom doesn't believe in God. My dad doesn't believe in God. So where did that leave Starlight? Well, I am grateful my dad gave me the choice. A Christian group came to my house, a family, and they wanted to bring me to church. My dad, actually, I couldn't believe it. He let me decide if I wanted to go or not. He didn't force me to go, and he didn't say I couldn't go. So that is what you want, is that when people give you that freedom, and you got to teach your kids this now. This is how we're going to change things around, is that your kids need to learn. Yes, you're the family, you're the parents, you're the mom, you're the dad. Yes, they have to obey you. If you're teaching them right and you're helping them out, hopefully you're not teaching them to go out and steal like some parents do. I hope you're not teaching your children to lie, right? But there's some people out there doing it. How do I know? I know. Believe me, I know. There are parents out there that are lying to their kids. I just caught this the other day. I was like, you just lied to your little, 3-year-old? You just lied to her because she's 3 years old and she doesn't know the difference? It was a young couple that was walking their 3-year-old little daughter. They went into the park, and the little girl was so excited because she's seen the, I'm trying to think what it's called, the carousel, with all the horses going around and the music. And what was going on? The kids are in there. The music is playing. There's parents around. They're buying tickets. That little girl was so excited. She wanted to go on there and ride one of the horses, but those two parents lied to their child and said, oh, well, it looks like they're closed, honey. And I'm watching. I'm like walking by, and my jaw just dropped. I'm like, oh, I could just see what kind of parents you're gonna, you're just gonna lie to that little girl. You know what? You could pull that shit on that little girl because she's only 3 or 4 years old. But when she is gonna find out later. She is gonna get upset. She's gonna find out that her mommy and daddy has been lying to her. And you really cannot do that to your kids. Really be honest to your children. We have been lied to throughout the whole life. We need to find out what the truth is. Search for the truth. Just don't believe everything you hear. Even with me, question everything. I make videos you don't even understand because you haven't gone through the hell that I've gone through. I am not crazy. I'm just waking up. So I've gone through hell to learn what I learned today. There's other ways of doing it. There's people that do these drugs and they learn the truth that way. But if it doesn't kill you before you find out the truth, there's different drugs out there. I'm not here to encourage you to go out and do those drugs, but yes, there are drugs out there that people really see the reality the way it is, so anyway, is you can't just because you hear somebody telling you something either on YouTube or your family members, but they were programmed, is you got to let go of all that shit you've been told. You got to start over from scratch. You got to really start over from scratch. Question everything more than now than ever. You know what they want to do? They don't want humans around on it. They've been wanting to change that for the longest time. So there's a lot of weird things that happen in the world where people die in some weird way or another. Because they say that there's only supposed to be a certain amount of people on planet Earth, and if it's not that certain number, then they want to find a way of destroying people. And then we have the robots and stuff like that coming, and the stuff that they're already doing, so they want to have the robots overtake us. Do you have children? Do you have family? We have to wake up. We have to really take our life serious, and I could talk to you about the Matrix, and you know what? You're not going to get this yet. Some of you might, some of you, if you check those videos out, you'd be like, you know what? Especially if you're in video games, if you are a video game player or into dream studies, there's so much with symbols and all that stuff. You could read so much about your everyday life that you're not even aware of just by studying symbols, and you'll get so much information. That is how you're going to really find out what is going on, is your intuition. Listen to the universe when the universe gives you signs and numbers. If you're not paying any attention on any of those things, like repeated numbers like today, 888, you know how many times I got 888, 3 8s? The other day I had a man that gave me 4 $2 bills. And all those $4 bills, Starlight knows a little trick my brother taught me about dollar bills. Certain dollar bills, I learned that you can do that with a dollar bill. You can learn it with a $2 bill, and I'm not sure about a $5 bill, but there's a way. All these $2 bills all had the number 12 on it, which actually is the 12th letter of the alphabet too. The first number, the first alphabet will be the 12th number on that $2 bill. So I got a whole bunch of 2s and a whole bunch of 12s. So it's like, okay, what does the number 2 mean? What does the number 12 mean? What does the number 888 mean? Those are all information that the universe gives us, like when you got to pay attention. You can't get distracted, in this life. And if you got kids, you really got to be sharp. You really got to be mindful. What are your kids learning in school? Have the same-sex relationships? Hey, Starlight, you know what? I've been a female my whole life. Guess what? I'm still a female. Everything, I never got any operation to change anything. I am absolutely 100% a female. But what they're doing in the school is totally, God is not pleased. That's why Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed, is because of sodomy going on. And, one of the daughters of one of the family members, they did horrible stuff to that girl. If you ever read the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, of what happened, because God created man, Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, to multiply. And that is what they've been doing there. A lot of people don't want to work on themselves. And that's why, hey, you know what? You don't have to work on yourself. Go get a robot. You can have sex with a robot. Forget about working on yourself and trying to discover who you are. You could go out, find, how much does that robot cost anyway? You get to pick out, okay. They're going to have these beautiful looking models, like model robots, guys and girls, they'll have brunettes, women, robots, good looking, what color skin robot would you like? They already have in China, like one that looks real like, so, is that really where this world is going to? They want to take the jobs away, like I mentioned the other day with, a self-driving car, how about, it was airy. I did not like the feeling. Now I'm in an area where I didn't see one of those driving cars, and wow, it's a creepy feeling having those all around. It's a horrible feeling. I've never felt so weird, the sound of that car, and just knowing that there's nobody in there driving that thing, so you got to wake up to the truth that you've been lied to, even though you don't understand about when I say this, this is real. This here planet Earth is 100% real. Okay, that is not what I'm talking about, but we are in a simulation. If I had, I don't want to ever go like in the metaverse. That is what they want. They want to trap people in that metaverse. So be wise, what you listen to, and find out with your kids. If you have kids, get involved. If you're sending them to public school, I can't tell you to take them out, because homeschooling would be the number one thing for your kids, because that they're safe at home, getting educated, and they have programs out there. My son, he got educated I didn't even graduate, but my son was being homeschooled by me. And then there's a point that I was no longer in a relationship where I had to break up with that man and start all over on my own with my son. So I was forced that I had to go get a job to make, to pay for the bills. And so I had to end the homeschooling because I had to go and make money. He couldn't do it. He had to finish his school. So he went to WorkSource Solutions out in New York. And when they tested him, they were amazed that he was homeschooled by me, because the program that I had that we picked, it was Switched On Schoolhouse program, computer programs, and they have tutors on there, and Starlight was jumping on those computers. I was learning at that time when I was homeschooling. If I could homeschool my kids without having a diploma or a GED, you can, and people got to wake up. Instead of chasing a dollar bill, if you are married and you got a couple, if one of you are making plenty enough money to be able to take care of, you don't need all this material stuff. This is the trap. That is the trap. Stop worrying about all the material. Your kids' education is number one important. So stop chasing the dollar bill. If you got family or loved ones that would take your kids, and all you got to do is go buy, if you spent money, and bought a program that would teach you a better education for your kids, and the history would be totally different. The history would be way better than what they're teaching in school. The school is always changing the history books and changing it because parents catch on, and they get into school and they rip them apart. They get upset, because they see, just like people that go to church, they do the same shit, just like the public school, same shit that they do with politics. They're always changing things up and switching things around, changing the words and all this stuff, to kind of dilute everything and try to deceive you, that they were being truthful, when we all know that they've been lying. So we need to wake up. You need to be wise on what you're doing with your kids, and what kind of, what are you teaching your kids? Educate your kids. If you're sending them to school, you know what? Those teachers are gonna tell your kids some crazy ass shit because they're programmed to do that. Like, you don't want to send your kids to a school that is telling your child, your son, hey, if you don't want to be a boy, you can be a girl. Imagine that. Your son goes home and doesn't want to wear pants anymore, or wants to wear dresses. I tell you, because then, how are we going to make babies? How is that going to happen, So, anyway, I love you so much. Stop believing everything you hear. Is you got to really ask God for help, ask God for wisdom. Like, if you're not sure about something, ask God, ask the universe, please give me clarity. I did a clarity meditation this morning because there's things I'm not clear about, and I want to know the truth. I am tired of living a lie that my whole life has been a lie. If you really knew how deep the rabbit hole goes, I'm only at the start point of the freaking rabbit hole. Believe me, I am only starting out. I've only got a taste of really what the truth is, and the truth is what we really need. Stop just believing, just stop being a sponge, just like I was my whole life. Is, when I went to church, everything they told me, you would think Christians, people that are going to church, would be teaching you the truth. You would think that they were being honest. I just met a man the other day. It's amazing. I needed help for gas. I went to him, told him what I'm doing, and then he goes, oh, I really can't help you out because I don't believe the same way. He said, I don't believe in God, and he's an atheist. He's not an atheist, but he's something else. And the beautiful thing about it is, I said, you know what? I don't blame you. I actually agreed with him. I said, I don't believe you. I don't blame you for what you're saying, because I said, I came from a cult church. My kids got abused at this cult church. Our family went through hell at this cult church. The shit that was going on, and the FBI was on this shit, but they didn't catch it. Is that that man, I told him, I said, the church is just a program. It's a system to program to control you. That's what, I believed this my whole life before I even started going to church. I thought, it was my intuition was speaking, and I didn't really understand it until I had to go through the crap that my family went through. So, you know what? And that guy, when I told him, I think he doesn't believe in anything, but when I told him that the church is just a program of control, he said, you know what? I actually agree. And that man gave me $20 to help me out with gas. First, he wasn't going to help me out, but he heard me speak. So use your voice, find out the truth. Stop just believing everything you've just been told, like I have. I was a sponge my whole life. I am no longer a sponge, just soaking it all up. And that's exactly what all of us did. We believed everything, the school, the teachers, and all that. So I love you so much. This is Starlight. You could give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight. And you can also leave a message down below, beep, beep, beep. Plus, you could share my videos with your family or friends. I'm hearing all these birds out here, and a brown and yellow butterfly. I hope I see one online somewhere. So yes, share my videos, and don't forget my playlist. Plus, you can find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you so much. Really, stop being a sponge. Question everything. When something comes up, question it. Is that real? Is that a fact, or is that opinion? Is that made up, or what is it? Some things, you know what, you're going to hear, you might not understand. That doesn't mean that it's not true. Like me saying this is a stimulation. Earth is not a stimulation, but when I'm out there and there's buildings and houses and all that, yes. But if you don't understand, let it just sit. You don't have to judge it right away. Say, you know what, I don't know about that. I'm just going to let that sit on a shelf somewhere. In time, you keep on asking yourself that question. Ask the universe about that question. Is this all an illusion, universe? Is this... Ask. And I did this for years. My brother told me about this long time ago. And I kept on repeatedly, how is this an illusion? How is this an illusion? For years. And bam, it hit me hard. I went through I had a breakdown, and that gave me the breakthrough to understand that yes, he was right. So anyway, I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.